Ready?
Okay.
Hello, welcome to season 2 of the Station Break podcast. This is exciting. I'm Cassidy Quinn, your host, and every Friday, we call it Behind the Scenes Friday at KGW News in Portland, Oregon. We go behind the scenes with somebody who works at KGW. Now we have one of the newest members of the KGW team.
Who's newer?
I don't know. Definitely the newest on-air people. Yeah.
God, geez,
Mr. Joey
they're
Harrington.
Turning over all the time over here.
You may have seen Joey on KGW or, in his wonderful football career, the Ducks, multiple NFL teams, and now we're lucky to have him at KGW, so welcome.
Thank you much.
You are, so far, the most Googleable person I've had on the podcast.
Is that a verb?
I've made
or
it
an
one.
adjective?
Ooh.
Googleable.
I don't.
It's
oh my
gosh.
gosh.
That's probably an adjective.
An adjective, yeah. Very Google. You can put that on your resume.
Okay.
Special skills,
Okay,
very
good.
Googleable. There's a lot of things about you on the internet.
Okay.
How long have you actually been at KGW? Checking his watch.
When did I start? I think the 1st of March.
Oh.
So I'm almost on 7 weeks now.
Nice.
Coming up on 8 weeks.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm a seasoned vet.
Yeah. Now, you had a lot of jobs before you got into TV news. A lot of them were involving football, but did you ever have any super random jobs when you were growing up?
Boy, in all honesty, I didn't work a whole lot in the summer because, even during the school year either, because I was always doing football or basketball or, something else in the spring. I did have I helped Northwest Pump and Equipment Company move their warehouse once. And I actually worked the loading docks at Silver Eagle Trucking Company one summer. I was there for about 6 weeks till camp started.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I have not had a whole lot of 9 to 5 experience because, after the football thing, then it was like the TV football thing, and then it was like the foundation thing, and then it was like the family thing, and none of those are 9 to 5 jobs. I should tell my kids that they should wake up at 9 and they should go to sleep at 5. That would be...
Just so you can have that. Yeah. That would be nice. Just cool. 9 hour. I mean, I don't have any kids, so mine are 0 hour babysitting a day, but if you could just limit them to 8 hours of awake.
There you go. You got it covered.
And they're at school for
I know.
6 of those.
Make it so much easier.
Clearly all the non-9 to 5s did pay off for you.
Yes.
So that's not a bad thing. I usually ask everyone on the podcast if they've ever been fired.
Yeah, I have a lot.
I guess, does it count if you're switching teams? Is that?
Oh, you're cut.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I got cut from Miami. How about this? So I got fired from Fox Sports 1. When was that? Last June. So just about a year ago. Completely out of the blue. I had no idea it was coming. So that was a little bit, unnerving. I knew the other ones were coming. But my favorite is when I got released from the Dolphins the Monday before I got married.
Oh.
Yeah. So I got fired on Monday. I cleared waivers on Tuesday, which means every team has an opportunity to pick you up with your existing contract, which nobody wanted. Then I started getting calls on Wednesday. Can you come out to visit? And I said, no, I have my rehearsal dinner tomorrow. Well, we'll fly you out after the dinner. And I said, I'm getting married on Saturday. Well, we'll have you back on Friday night. So I said, thank you, but no thank you. I'm going to go get married. I'm going to go on my honeymoon. And then when I'm back, we can talk.
Wow. And then is that where you ended up when you got back?
Well, so then when I got back, we were flying back from the Seychelles in Kenya. It was an incredible honeymoon. So we went Nairobi to London, left on a Sunday. Nairobi to London, London to Seattle. When I landed in Seattle, I got a call from my agent, Seattle back to Portland. We landed on a Tuesday night. Said, we need you on a flight at 6 a.m. on Wednesday to go to Charlotte. So I went to Charlotte on Wednesday. Thursday, I went to Atlanta. Friday, I flew back to Portland. Saturday, I slept all day. Sunday was Easter. Monday, I was going to the airport to go to Seattle. And I got a call from my agent who said, you have a contract in Atlanta, change your flight and go there now. You start training camp tomorrow at 7 a.m.
What?
That's what most people do, isn't it? That's how most people's work life happens?
Yeah. I have traveled once since I started at KGW for work.
Cannon Beach?
Yeah, yes. No, I did go on an
Jet
airplane
lag.
a few weeks ago. That gives me a headache just thinking about that.
Well, yeah.
Wow.
That part is done. It is that is in the past. That was part of where I am right now, but yeah, it's nice to be home.
Yeah. And you're from Portland originally,
Born
right?
and raised. Northeast Portland.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We were just talking. You sound like you know all of the parts of Portland, especially Northeast Portland.
It's changed so much, though. I mean, it has. I mean, I grew up on 39th and Gleason at a time when it was not that it was a bad neighborhood. It was just a neighborhood. But now it's like, this really cool, hip place to live in Northeast Portland, and it's like, nah, that's just Laurelhurst, where we all grew up and ran around in the streets, and yeah. So.
That's awesome. What is your typical day like? First at KGW.
Okay.
I'm getting in the middle of your typical day. Normally you'd probably be
you're
editing or something.
Yeah. My typical day at KGW is I'll go out and shoot a story, find somebody in the community that is doing something really cool that needs to be, I don't know, not publicized, but there are a lot of really cool stories out there that nobody hears about. Everybody hears about all the bad news and everything that we don't need to get into that. I'm trying to tell some good, positive community stories, and so we'll go out and find something and shoot it. Maybe be back here by about 2 o'clock with the help of my incredible mentor, Kathy Marshall. We'll edit the piece, probably for air the following day. And then I'll do a story on the 4 o'clock news, and I'll do a story on the 5 o'clock news, and then I'll go home and have dinner with my family.
And are you, when that airs on the 4 o'clock or the 5 o'clock, and maybe it's different day to day, are you in the studio or somewhere tossing to it live, or is it all
I will do
pre-done?
something completely different live. So we'll film the story that for air the following day, and then I'll come in and pick up a story from one of the producers to do at 4 o'clock and another one to do at 5 o'clock, and just prep scripts. And the funny thing is, when I was traded, or when I was fired, and ended up with a new team, you find the facility, you go in, you go up to the equipment managers, hey, how you guys doing? Good to meet you. I need to grab my helmet and then get some cleats. You find your locker, you throw your shoulder pads in, you go out to practice, you throw the football. You just throw to different people, right? Doesn't matter where you are. Here, I know nothing. I am starting, like this is speaking a new language. So things that take seasoned vets like yourself, minutes to do.
I don't know if I can say that, but thank you.
It takes me hours. It's learning a new language. It's the ENPS. It's the Aurora browse.
Yeah.
I have to code the certain time stamps, and I'm on it. I got it covered.
See, I don't have to do most of those things, so I would probably be pretty level with you if they had to.
Yeah.
If they told me to do some of those things.
Yeah, I'm
Just
learning.
kidding. I'm an expert.
It's taken a while.
Are you learning to edit too?
I will.
Cool.
I will. Well, I am learning, but I will soon be I don't know. Will I actually be editing? Is that technically what I do, or do I just give suggestions to the editors?
Yeah, write scripts and
See, I don't even
get
know
it
what
all
to call
organized.
it. Yeah. I just do stuff. I just talk to people, and there's a camera there, and then I tell stories. Yeah.
Did you always want to do TV-related things
No.
after football?
Never. I shouldn't say never, but it wasn't something that I really had in the forefront of my mind. It kind of happened by accident, the football broadcasting piece. And then I knew I would always have a time where there would be a conflict, where if I was going to continue to do sports, college football broadcasting, I would have to travel. And every weekend for 4 months, I would be gone. From the end of August, all the way until mid-December, gone every weekend. And I didn't want that life at a certain point. I enjoyed it while I did it. And then when I got let go, it wasn't on my terms, but it allowed me to be at home with my 2 kids and my wife on Saturday afternoons at Laurelhurst Park with a cup of coffee watching kick and chase soccer, and it was awesome. And then that's how this TV job came about was Rick approached me, said, would I have any interest in doing this? And, I had never thought about it before, but the more we talked, the more I thought it'd be kind of cool to, who better to tell stories about Portland than someone who's been here for 30, how old am I? 37 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes total sense. And are a lot of your things sports related or more just people doing cool things, good things?
You know what? I'll do some sports stuff eventually, but the stories that I want to do are just people doing cool stuff. We did a story. We did a story last week on these kids over at Dunaway Elementary that have a buddy bench. That if you're feeling left out, then you go sit on the bench, and somebody from the school, one of your, fellow students comes over and invites you to play. Like
Aww.
just, or then there's the students up at Fort Vancouver. Hudson Bay High School that have gathered, solicited businesses, department stores, former students for prom dresses and formal wear for guys. Then they then sell for $5 so that kids can go to the prom and be stylish but not break their bank. I mean, there's so many of these great stories around that I think that get missed, and it doesn't always have to do with sports. There's a lot of really cool things out there that are not sports related.
Yeah.
So if you have any ideas, send them to me.
Yes. How do people send them to you?
How do people send them to me?
Just find
Twitter,
him on the internet.
I have a Twitter handle now.
Joey Harrington, I think.
There you go. At least you know it.
Well, I had to tweet out.
You can send it to
asking people
Facebook
for questions.
Yeah. I have a Facebook page too.
Yes. So you were interviewed by people for years playing football. What does it feel like being on the opposite side of it?
It's honestly given me a really unique perspective because there was one thing as a player that I really did not, I don't want to say I hated, but it just became a drag when someone would walk up to you after the game and ask you the most bland, completely cliche, really you don't know what you're talking about, but you're trying to get a soundbite question. Mm-hmm. But when somebody actually sat down and before they started the actual interview had a conversation, that wall just went down. And I found that I gave better interviews to people who I felt were genuinely interested in what I had to say. Mm-hmm. And so I've taken that, or I've tried to take that, to the stories that I do. And I want to know more. I want to know about the people. I mean, I try and get to know. I don't want to say the interviewee, interviewer. Mm-hmm. I'm the interviewer.
Yes.
So get to know the interviewee as a person rather than just an object that is, fulfilling my role, my job here at KGW, so that I can put a soundbite on camera. Just get to know them and talk to them a little bit. And I think I found, and I experienced when I was playing, that if you take down that professional barrier, then the things that you hear and say are monumentally better.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Because you don't want to be...
Don't be bland.
Yeah. And it is so funny thinking about a lot of the interviews you see of coaches or players, like at halftime of any sport, or at the end of the game. It's like, well, what happened that time?
Both teams played hard.
Yeah. We did what we could. We really came together.
Everybody stepped up.
Yes. The stepping up is very important.
Everybody steps up. I mean, there's a lot of stepping these days.
Even if you lose, even if whatever, you're stepping.
Does everybody step down? Has anybody? Never heard somebody say they stepped down.
Only if you're like resigning.
Oh.
Right?
Okay. Or
stepping down
or getting fired.
Yes.
I've stepped down a couple times.
Yeah. And then you step back up.
Yeah.
So you were talking about doing stories about other people doing cool stuff. You have done a lot of cool stuff in your life. Are there any most memorable, crazy stories because of football or anything?
How much time do we have?
5 hours.
Stay
tuned.
Okay, part one. Memoirs by Joey Harrington.
We'll turn it into a book afterwards.
Okay,
We'll
who's
get you a
writing it?
deal.
Who's the ghostwriter?
Well, someone's just going to transcribe this whole thing to cut out my questions and
Okay,
everything
cool.
you say.
Or edit, ENPS.
Yes.
They'll use Aurora Browse. Okay, be more specific. Where? Let's focus in. Best story, most memorable experience. Where?
Well, okay. Here's some examples.
Okay.
Of cool things I think. Like you've had a billboard in Times Square.
Yes.
Which is insane.
When you think about it, yes.
When you were finalist for the Heisman, right?
Yeah, that was, it's funny. So my dad and I went out there for the opening of the billboard, or the unveiling. They got put up, and all of us went out from Oregon. And the night before we did the press stuff. That's a technical term, an industry term, press stuff. My dad and I just walked down from our hotel. And you could see it as you were 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 block away. It just kind of, because it was 10 stories tall, and it wrapped the corner of this building that was at the top of Penn Station, kitty corner from Madison Square Garden. And so we just kind of walked over there, and neither of us said anything for about the last block. And we sat on the wall right on the outside of Madison Square Garden, and we both just kind of looked at it like this, like you and I were sitting here, and neither of us really knew what to say. And there was this kid, maybe early 20s. He looked like a college student, had an NYU sweatshirt on. He walks by, turns the corner, and you can't help but see it. So he sees it, and he looks over at me, and he keeps walking. And he looks at me, and he keeps walking, and he stops. And he looks back at me, and he looks, and in that New York accent, he's like, "Hey, is that you?" I was like, "Yeah, that's me." "Oh, cool." And he turned around and he just kept walking. So, it was really kind of surreal to see yourself that big, but, cool. It's not earth-shattering or life-changing. Well, it was kind of life-changing, but...
It's just crazy to think
about. It was
about.
kind of crazy.
Like, I don't know if, that's, like, even just being on television, like, that's a lot for people to look at. And then a giant billboard. And is it true that you ended up turning that into something for charity?
Yeah. We... what do you do with an 80 by 100 foot piece of something, whatever it was?
They just like mail it to you?
Yeah, they just folded it up and, an envelope, stamp.
Shipping was very expensive.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
exactly. No, we cut it up and we sold it to start a scholarship at the Lundquist College of Business at U of O.
That's awesome.
It was, it wasn't I wouldn't say it was an overwhelming sale, but it was enough to start a small scholarship. And, to be honest, I don't know where the rest of it is, because we sure didn't sell all of it. If you know where it is,
pieces of yourself.
let me know. Yeah.
It's on the black market.
Yeah.
Another totally random thing that I found, you played Madden football, video game, with 2 members of NSYNC in 2002, according to where the picture was taken.
I did.
Lance Bass.
In Jamaica.
Yeah.
Yes, I'd completely forgotten about that.
Which big fan of NSYNC, so.
Yeah. Bye.
Yes. If you're listening to this, you're missing all of the amazing dance moves Joey is doing right now. Lance Bass and Chris Kirkpatrick, right? Kirkpatrick. That's a.
I'm gonna trust you, because apparently I didn't even remember that one. No. Because I was on the cover of the college football game. So there was a Madden NFL that EA Sports did, and then there was a college game, which has since been, because of the lawsuit. But so I was on the cover of the college game and involved with the company, and they had some promotional trip down there, and they asked if I wanted to come, and I said sure, and they said you got to bring a guest. So I said, "Mom, you want to go to Jamaica?" And so my mom and I went to Jamaica, and I played video games with Lance Bass.
That's amazing.
That's
Wow.
There you go.
Did you sing with him?
Fortunately, no.
2002. Like, what would they even have been doing at that point? Were they still
NSYNC?
Yeah.
That was like their high. Wasn't that kind of like? I don't know. Maybe they were just breaking up. Maybe Justin Timberlake was getting too big for.
He was too big to play Madden with you, apparently.
Yeah, too cool for school.
Other random things. You got to carry the Olympic torch, Olympic flame, for the Salt Lake Olympics.
I did. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's actually the torch is still in my my office space.
Oh, you get to keep it?
You get the chance to keep the actual torch. Another funny story. God, you're bringing out so many. You've done your research. Well done.
I told you, you're Googleable.
Okay, Googleable.
Yes. We'll get you a T-shirt that just says, I'm Googleable.
So, the actual flame gets lit in grease and then is passed from torch to torch. Well, what they do is prior to the torch getting, the flame getting past you, they turn on this gas on the inside of the torch, so it catches and continues. And as soon as it gets past, they take the key and turn it off.
Oh.
But then that torch itself, you get a chance to keep, and it was like all burned and charred at the top, and it was really cool. And so my mom did a really nice thing and had it framed up and like mounted on this piece of mounting stuff.
Another industry term.
Mounting stuff, yeah. And I get it back, and I think she gave it to me for a birthday present or something, which was wonderful. And I opened it up and I looked at it, and all the glass, the guy had cleaned all of the glass around the top of the torch. And I said, where's the Olympic flame? Like, where's the ash from the Olympic flame? And we looked at it like, the guy wiped it away. So somewhere, somebody has a dirty rag with Olympic ash on it, and I want it back.
He probably sold it on eBay.
Probably.
Got thousands of dollars. Olympic
Probably.
ash on a rag.
Yes.
From Joey Harrington.
Yes.
That's so cool, though. How did you get connected to be able to carry the torch? And that was running through Portland?
I actually ran with it right down by Lloyd Cinemas on that stretch of, is it Multnomah Street? Right down there? I think it's Multnomah Street.
I'll trust you.
Yeah.
I can't prove you wrong.
Exactly. Someone just contacted me through U of O because it was right before my senior year, I think. I'm trying to do some quick math. That would have been for 2002.
Yes.
2002, so it would have been right after my senior year.
Winter 2000, like January 2002, somewhere in there?
Right. I just finished my senior year, senior season of 2001, and so then they just contacted the U of O and asked me to be a part of it. And I felt really, I don't want to say out of place, but like the people who were carrying the torch had such an inspirational story, and they were nominated by people. And I remember sitting in that bus thinking, yeah, I played some football, but I just feel really lucky to be a part of this. So, yeah. So I've still got the torch without the ash.
You could add some on. I'm sure
there's still a little bit on the inside because there was like this metal on the inside and then the glass around the outside. Soot. It's not ash. It's soot. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's still kind of charred on the inside, and that's there, but they wiped the glass clean.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he thought he was doing such a nice thing for you.
Yeah.
You also are a piano player, right?
Occasionally.
And you've played the national anthem at the Blazers game?
I've played the national anthem at the Blazer game.
Actually, go Blazers, by the way. When this comes out, it'll be Game 6 tonight. Fingers crossed.
There you go. That was actually 2002. But my favorite piano. So I took lessons probably till I was 16 or 17.
Wow.
I started when I was 4, and took classical lessons all until middle school, then switched over to jazz. And we actually had a little jazz trio that would hire out when we were in 7th grade. We played the opening of a credit union over down by Benson High School.
What was it called? Not the credit union, your trio.
Oh, the trio. I was like, I don't know what the credit union was. The trio. We didn't really have a name. We can make up a name now if you want to. But so we played as a little trio all through middle school and high school. Made a couple bucks doing Christmas parties, and it was fun. But once the whole football thing, my piano teacher at the time said, "Look, I know you want to play, but you don't have the time to invest in it, and I can see it in the lack of progress you're making from lesson to lesson. So either make a choice or give up the spot because I have somebody else who wants to take it." So I gave up my spot. I took a lesson or two in college through the music school, got a little credit for it. But I have every intention of going back. I can still play well. I don't play near how I used to. But I was going to say my favorite memories are the concert that we used to do a fundraising concert for my foundation. And year one, I was training actually down in Southern California, and I had a buddy come over, and he said, "Hey, listen to this. I got this." He was a student at University of San Diego. There's this guy who plays this coffee shop just down the street from my house. His name's Jason Mraz. Take a listen. And I mean, it truly was just like a recording from the coffee shop that he played. I was like, "You should do a charity concert with him." I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So we called him up, and he came out for like $1,500 and played a charity concert here in Portland. And that summer, like his debut album came out and exploded. And so I got to play in the concert with Mraz and John Popper from Blues Traveler, and we did it for a couple years. I got to play with some really cool Donovan Frankenreiter. I got to play with Gavin DeGraw one time. I mean, it's interesting how anybody who's in a public setting always seems to want to do something else. Like all football players want to be basketball players, and all basketball players want to be baseball players, and all musicians want to be athletes, and all athletes want to be music. Like it's just this really weird. So to be able to sit down and talk with guys who are truly, I mean, God, Blues Traveler has been around for 25 years, 14 albums. I mean, Mraz has had an incredible, run the last decade. I mean, all these guys and girls have done an amazing job, and to be able to play and experience what they experience on a nightly basis. I mean, it was such a different rush being on the stage at Crystal Ballroom versus being on the field at Autzen Stadium. Completely different. 1,500 people versus, nearly 50,000, but so completely different and incredible at the same time. I'm rambling a lot, sorry.
No, that's great. Do you have any other random, not that piano playing is random talents, but things that people wouldn't expect you to do?
I don't think so.
Well, piano is a very good one. My mom
I'll let you know if
will listen to this and be like, "See, you should have kept playing piano like Joey." I'd quit too early, but it's okay.
15 minutes a day. 15 minutes a day. Just do it. It's like Geico. 15 minutes will save you a lifetime of regret.
That's their new slogan.
Yeah.
Lifetime of regret. You recently did a TED Talk in
did.
Portland, and I have not gotten to watch it or listen to it yet because the video's not out yet, but I heard that it was amazing, and you got a little emotional.
I did. Yeah, it was interesting because I'd given this type of talk plenty of times before, but it was in a corporate setting. So where it was, Ricoh or Safeway or Nike, where you go in and you talk to a group of people about your experiences, and it's great. But in those settings, you rarely get a chance to, I don't know that you really want to cross that line where it becomes, I don't want to say truly personal, but there's always that screen that's up. That let's not get too jump into this too much. At the conference, or I guess the event, the TEDx event here in Portland, I honestly just kind of got taken in by the experience. We ran I ran that talk probably 10, 12, 14 different times, whether it was at the office preparing or even in the at the Keller doing the rehearsal, the dress rehearsal the day before, and not once was there a lick of emotion. Not once. I mean, not even like close. And then I was sitting there that morning of the event and listening to some of the other speakers and just kind of taking in everything and how excited people were and how you could tell people were just invested in everything people had to say. And I was like, this could be a real opportunity to just let it go. And I thought there was going to be a point where I got emotional, but there were actually two, and I did not see the first one coming at all. Like I came to a stop where that moment where I knew if I kept speaking, I was just going to lose it. And so I kind of had to just take a deep breath and compose, and I tried to start again, and I couldn't. And yeah, the crowd was just wonderful and very supportive and brought me along, and yeah. I mean, it was, am I supposed to talk about what the topic was?
Yeah, you can, if you like.
I talked about failure. I talked about people's need for perfection and how things like the Billboard, all the success that we had at Oregon really set me up for, and should I say how I responded to it, set me up for a crash, and how everybody, with the popularity of social media and everybody's desire to put out this unrealistic, perfect image of yourself, is creating so many opportunities for people to have similar experiences that I had. I talked about embracing imperfection. Live it, love it, own it. Like, it's yours, it's normal, we are all a mess. We are all hot messes. And no matter what you think other people are doing, they're still the same hot mess that you are. And so the sooner you can realize that, the sooner you can just learn to enjoy life and love it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Everybody's a hot mess.
Everyone's a hot mess. There you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep thinking about that. I'm excited
Threw you
to
for a
see
curveball on that one.
Yeah,
Huh?
they are posting the videos
Yes,
online.
it will be coming up online shortly.
Okay. I'm excited to check it out.
Yeah.
Another thing you did very recently, aka this morning, actually, when we're recording this, you're working on choosing the scholarship recipients for your foundation, the Harrington Family Foundation.
The Harrington Family
right?
Foundation. Yeah, we call them community quarterback scholarships. We're actually thinking of maybe giving a little tweak because too many people are actually thinking that it has to do with sports when it doesn't. Like, it's a community quarterback. We're looking for young leaders in the community. So this is a 4-year scholarship that is open to any graduating high school senior from any high school in the state, as long as you are going to an in-state secondary education. So you could go to any university, any junior college, any trade school, arts, culinary, graphic design, anything in the state of Oregon. Point being is we're looking to find those kids that aren't necessarily 4.1600 SAT score kids. I guess that's kind of old school now. Now it's like a 4.3 and a 1800 with all the, I don't understand it. Anyway, we're looking for kids that aren't perfect, but show the willingness to get out and get beyond themselves. Find a problem, see a problem, address it, try and tackle it. Maybe you work a part-time job. Maybe you're helping provide income for your family. Maybe you're watching your brother and sister after school because mom and dad are working. We are looking for young leaders, and we're trying to keep them here in state. And so it's a 4-year scholarship. It's not a full ride. We're continuing to fundraise to raise the amount, but it's a 4-year scholarship that also comes with, we'll just call it our mentor program. I've set up a board of mentors. I'll just call them influential business people or people from Oregon-based industries from around the state. So it was Dave Frohnmeyer, before he passed away. He was kind of our government and education, the former Attorney General, president of the University of Oregon. It's Tinker Hatfield, who is the iconic designer at Nike. It's Randy Stegmeyer, who was the lead architect in the Hatfield-Dallin complex, the new world-renowned football facility at Oregon. It's David Millman, the general manager at Domaine Drouin. It's Dean Joanne Warner, the former dean of the University of Portland Nursing School. There's the wine industry, there's healthcare, there's Grant Hammersley, the CEO of Opus Events, to help people or help young kids learn how to be an entrepreneur and start a business. Kurt Huffman, Chef's Table group here in Portland that does all, on like 20 successful restaurants here in the Portland area. I tried to get a collection of people that, Rick Jeffries, River Ridge Golf Course down in Eugene for agriculture and, running a small business that give a different perspective and can help at least just guide these students. Because if these truly are some leaders, if we've identified them as leaders at a young age, I want to keep them in school here, and then I want to connect them into the business community. And it's not a one-on-one, make sure you do your homework tomorrow mentorship. It's having access to pick up the phone and say, hey, I've got a question. Or maybe we can sit down and have some coffee. Or do you have any internships this summer? And maybe you don't, but maybe you know somebody who does. So that's the program. And cool. I'm kind of excited to see it develop. We're in our third year of awarding scholarships, and like I was telling you earlier, we've got, so this will be we'll have 12 kids. It's 4 scholarships every year. 2 from Portland, 1 from Salem, 1 from Woodburn, 1 from Philomath, Lebanon, Culver, outside of Baker City, Bend, Klamath Falls, Medford, and North Bend. So we are truly, and just the way it worked out, 6 guys, 6 girls, we are covering the state, and I hope that we can have a significant impact and groom the next group of young leaders in the state.
That's so cool. Congratulations on the success of it so far.
Thanks.
Excited to hear who all the people are and see where they go. Something that is happening right now when this podcast gets released is the NFL draft.
Ooh.
Something you are very familiar with, having gone through it yourself. Do you remember what that was like? You stayed home with your family, right? You didn't actually go to New York for it?
I did.
What was that like going through that?
Going through the actual draft day or the draft process? Because the draft process is like nothing you've ever, well, obviously you've never been through
Can't
it,
relate.
But but you are, like, they try and learn everything about you. Like, I had my old high school English teachers coming up to me saying, hey, we had somebody from the Raiders here that was asking me questions about what you were like as a sophomore in high school in my English class. Oh, there is no stone left unturned. There is no, because you have to think that these organizations are investing millions of dollars in 21, 22-year-old kids. They need to make sure that they're not going to screw it up.
Sometimes they don't make sure,
and
though.
Sometimes they don't, exactly. So it's not a perfect process. But I remember, thinking that I'm standing at the combine, in nothing but my boxer shorts in front of a room of 250, old men with a paper and pencil. It was like, you could see them like marking down, like kind of flabby in the shoulders. And you stand up on a scale.
That's my worst nightmare.
Oh, it was. You stand on the scale and this guy yells out 2, 1, 8. 218 pounds. Okay, you see them all riding, and then you go over to the height, and they put a stick against the wall. 6, 0, 4, 0. 6'4". I didn't get a haircut like for a month before, so I made sure I had that extra like eighth of an inch.
Too.
Yeah. No, it's just a really, I don't want to call it a degrading process, but there's just a lot of stuff that goes into it. And then that draft day is, you just wash your hands of them. Because you truly have no control. Mm-hmm. One moment, I'm standing in my grandparents' living room, and the next moment, I'm on a plane going to Detroit to live the next 4 years of my life.
That same day?
The next morning. Yeah, they couldn't get me out soon enough, but.
So you packed at the beginning of draft day? You're like, I've got my suitcase packed in case, hopefully.
You pack a bag. I knew, see, that's the thing, is I had a general idea. I was lucky in that I knew I was probably going to go in the first round. And there were 6-ish teams that were looking for quarterbacks. Houston, Buffalo, Cincinnati, Detroit, Washington, Kansas City. I knew I wasn't going to Houston because they were going to take David Carr first. I knew I probably wasn't going to go to Kansas City because Dick Vermeil was the coach and he wanted a veteran quarterback. But then after that, it's like you truly have no idea where you're going to end up. And if somebody else makes a decision, so let's say somebody wanted to, because Julius Peppers, who's just finishing, 15 years in the NFL now, it seems like, he was picked right before me. If somebody else wanted to get up and get Julius Peppers, they make a trade, right? So they jump up in front of the Detroit Lions and they select that player. Well, that movement affects everybody else behind because now it's thrown a wrench in what people thought was going to happen. Or if somebody selects somebody, let's say Detroit had taken an offensive lineman instead of a quarterback. Well, now that offensive lineman is off the board for the next team and they have to shuffle their draft board. So every decision affects everybody else who hasn't been drafted yet. So it's this domino effect where you truly have no control over where you're going to live and where you're going to work next year. And you just kind of shrug and say, all right, wherever I end up, I end up. And for the guys that had to sit through multiple days, I only had to sit through an hour and a half or 2 hours or something like that. It was not very long at all because I was the third pick in that first round. But if you're waiting till the end of the second day to find out I'm talking about stressful. You're just sitting there just staring at a screen and just waiting and watching. Like, do they pick me? No. Do they pick me? No.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you find out at the same time as everyone watching finds out, right?
Yeah, so I had forgotten. I told somebody this story the other day. I'd completely forgotten. So I got a phone call. My agent handed me the phone, said it's Mr. Polian. Well, Bill Polian was the general manager for the Colts at that time. His brother worked for the Lions.
Oh. Where were the Colts in the draft order?
Much lower because they had Peyton Manning and they were good. So I picked up the phone and I'm talking, and I thought I didn't realize that there was a Polian working with the Lions. So I thought it was Bill Polian with the Colts, and I thought I was talking. Well, he says, are you ready? We're going to pick you. And I said, well, with all due respect, sir, it's not your pick. I said, what are you talking about? Who do you think you're talking to? I said, Bill Polian from the Colts? Like, no, this is Polian from the Lions. I was like, oh! And as I'm looking at, as I'm hearing that, I see the camera is showing me on TV. It's like, oh, I'm going to Detroit.
Wow, so when the cameras are on you, you were confused for a second.
I had no idea what was going on. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Wow, I always wonder what's going through people's mind because you see them. Some people are like celebrating, they're kissing people. Other people are just like on the phone, like I can't hear anything.
Yeah.
Everyone's screaming around me, but what team am I on?
Loud noises.
Yeah. Wow.
Mm-hmm. We've had a lot of kind of cool, fun stories. You've done some good research.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Now we're going to take a couple questions from the social media sphere.
Oh.
Let's see. Greg, Superset Greg on Twitter, said, what was your best game as an NFL pro?
Ooh. Statistically, probably a game I was with the Dolphins, and I remember I broke one of Dan Marino's passing records for a...
Oh, I thought you were going to say you broke somebody's
No.
I'm like,
no, I think we threw the ball 65 times in one game.
Ooh.
It was against the Packers. But we lost, so it wasn't that important. But my best favorites, my best memory in the NFL was definitely going back to Detroit with the Dolphins. So I'd spent 4 years in Detroit, got traded to Miami, and we went back on Thanksgiving, and I threw 3 touchdowns, and we beat them. But it was interesting because when you go on the road, you get to choose which side of the ball they introduce for the starting lineups. And Coach Saban, Nick Saban was our coach at the time, chose the defense to be introduced. So they went through all the, Zach Thomas, Jason Taylor, Kevin Carter, and at quarterback, and we all kind of stopped and looked. Like, why are you introducing a quarterback? Well, they start blaring on the big screen, all these shots of me getting blindsided and in the soundtrack is Billy Joel's Piano Man. And he, just me getting my face driven into the dirt, and interception, and the place just goes crazy, like, yeah, we hate you, ah! And so they just singled me out to introduce just to get a rise out of the crowd.
Yeah.
But yeah, then we went out and beat them going away, and it was a lot of fun. But so another funny story. So I get back to Miami after that, and that next week there's a FedEx envelope on my stool at my locker. I was like, FedEx, okay. I open it up, and dear Joey, I can't remember what her name was. My name is so and so. I'm Billy Joel's personal assistant. Enclosed, you will find a letter from Mr. Joel. It's like, what? So sure enough, I pull out this, this envelope stationery. It says William Joel on it. I open it up.
William Joel.
Dear Joey, I watched the Thanksgiving game. As I'm now a Dolphins fan, I heard I saw that they introduced you using my song, Piano Man. I'm honored, and I'm so thrilled that they used that song. However, maybe Detroit should use the song "We Didn't Start the Fire" next time they come out of the tunnel. I'm now living in Miami. If you'd ever like to come to, it's like, it was just, I was like, holy cow, that's Billy Joel just wrote me a note. So I've got that back at home, like tucked in a.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's not framed on the wall.
No, it's not. I don't know. That would be kind of weird.
Maybe.
I
don't know. Put
It's
it
kinda
right next to
fun.
the Olympic torch.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It was kind of cool. Yeah.
Scott Feebeck, you mentioned the Madden college football video game.
Right.
He posted a picture of it on Facebook. He still has the game, and he wanted to know if you have actually played it.
I did play it.
Did you play as yourself?
No, I couldn't play as myself because when you're on the cover, you are no longer in the game.
Oh.
So they cannot put. So they used a picture of me in college the year after I graduated to put on the college football game. That way they can compensate the person who's on there and everything's legal and kosher. However, I did play the previous games that led up to it when I was in it, and of course I played for myself. That's like every kid's, like, all you wanted to do, once you get to, get a college scholarship, right? You're going to play college football, great. 2, make the travel squad, okay, good. 3, make the 3-man roster, 3-deep roster, so that you could be on the college football video game the next year, because they took the 3-deep roster, and you could like substitute yourself as like a freshman and like sub out the All-American and put yourself in there. It was fun. Everybody did that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Everybody that played college football.
You didn't play college football?
No, I tried out. No.
You played the video game though. No.
I was not allowed to have video games as a child. It was a very sad life. Mom, if you're still listening, I wasn't playing piano. Nate Mutchler wants to know if you will adopt him as a little brother.
No, that would be weird.
Okay. What if
You're
he was
really
like
cool.
5 years old?
You're really cool. Like I've heard a lot of really good things about Nate Mutchler. From Tommy and Billy, Casey.
BFFs.
Yeah, like this. They say a lot of really good things about you, but no, that would.
He's really good at video games.
Yeah, it kind of make a rift in the family, though. I appreciate it. That's very thoughtful of you.
I think that could be fun. We could do a news story of you adopting a grown man. Megan Irene Moran, I hope I'm saying your name right, Megan, said, what made you decide to come back to the Pacific Northwest?
Oh, I never left. I mean, even when I was in Detroit or Miami or Atlanta or New Orleans playing, I always kept a home here in Portland. I mean, it was... This place is part of me. I mean, it's kind of why I felt comfortable taking on my new role here, is because I feel like I know the area. I feel like I'm part of the area. Like this is home. This is me. So yeah, I mean, I tell people I lived in Detroit, Miami, Atlanta, New Orleans, have family in Boston, trained in Southern California, had my first post-college job or post-NFL job in Austin, Texas. The only place I really haven't spent a whole lot of time is like Nebraska and Kansas, but I don't really have much desire to live there anyway. And there's no place I would rather live. I mean, if I couldn't live in Portland, I'd live in Atlanta, but it's still a far cry from Portland.
Mm-hmm. Well, good. Yeah. Glad to have you back. Speaking of Oregon, Scott Segrist says, greatest duck memory?
Probably, wow, that's a tough one. You can go with the Fiesta Bowl, which was kind of like the culmination of everything that we'd done for 5 years there, which was an incredible end to an incredible story. Or you could go to the Arizona State game my junior year, where we won 56-55. That was one of those improbable, we never should have won that game kind of things. Truly, we should not have won that game. But I might say that it was the first Arizona State game my sophomore year, where I hadn't really played the first half of the season, and I came in at halftime the week before, and we came back and won at Arizona. And then the following week, I did not get the start, and I was still the backup. And again, I came in at halftime at Autzen against Arizona State, and we were down 4-5 with like 50 seconds left and drove the length of the field. And I remember hitting Marshawn Tucker on a post corner 757 throwback right in the front corner of the east end zone. Crossed the goal line with 7 seconds left, and pandemonium broke out, and that was like my first true Autzen Stadium moment. So I think that's probably my favorite.
Your memory is insane. Thanks. All of the details and the people's names and the exact numbers. Oh my gosh.
It's all the hits to the head.
They helped just knocked the facts in there. That's a good memory.
Yeah.
Steele at Blue Snowy Mountains wants to know, are your favorite colors green and yellow because of the Ducks, or do you have other favorite colors?
Did not expect that question.
We've got some red and blue going on today, if you're listening and cannot see his outfit.
I was told by...
Patriotic.
Yeah, exactly. I think the only thing... I'm not a big pink fan. The color, not the artist.
Big fan.
Although I don't really know. Although I really don't know the artist that well either. And I'm not a big orange fan. I will say it. I do like Oregon State. I will cheer for the Beavers in 11 of 12 games a year. I love the in-state rivalry, but I just can't wear orange. So I like all colors except for pink and orange. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Are there any college teams that have pink as their actual color?
I don't think so.
That'd be fun. Final one before a couple of would you rather questions is, I forgot what it was going to be. What was, from Jeff Jurchin says, what was your first concert you went to?
The first concert I went to?
Yeah.
Boy, there's another great story. Man, you are on it today. The first concert...
that one is on it from the internet, from Jeff.
The first concert I ever went to was actually a Garth Brooks concert, but I'm not a country fan. So when Garth came to town, 96, 97, right in that time, you weren't here yet. Were you even born yet?
Yes, okay. I was born.
Yeah. So we were coming back across the bridge, and one of my buddies was driving, and he said, "Hey, I'm going to swing by the Garth concert just to see what's going on." I couldn't care less. I really couldn't. But he drove down, and there's all sorts of people waving tickets. Garth's late, and I got tickets, and so he said, I said, pull over, and I'm hopping out. So I'm in the passenger seat, and he hops out and runs across and starts talking to a scalper over there. So this is before StubHub and all that easy stuff where you can just click and get a ticket. Mm-hmm. And so he's talking to somebody, and this lady comes over and says, "Hey, you looking for tickets?" I said, think so. I mean, I don't know. My buddy's over there checking, talking with someone. It's like, well, how many do you have? I was like, there's 3 of us. Like, well, I've got 3 tickets I got to get rid of. It's like, well, look, I don't really want to go. And she's like, what's he buying tickets for over there? And I said, hey, how much are your tickets? He's like, I got tickets for $30 over here. And they're going for like $100 and some dollars. And so I said, well, they're $30. She said, I'll give them to you for 25. And I yelled back, 25. And he yells back, 20. And she said, I'll give you all 3 tickets for $20 total. And her daughter was now behind her like, Mom, come on, we gotta go, like pulling on her shirt. And I was like, look, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I want to go. I don't, my mom might not even let me stay out this late. And she's like, here, fine, take them. She takes 3 tickets to Garth Brooks and throws them into the car. And I picked them up. I was like, hey, dude, we got 3 free tickets. Let's go. So we parked the car. He was, we missed the first song or 2, but we got to watch Garth Brooks. And they were like 200 level, and there were great seats, and we had fun. And
wow.
There you go. So that was my first concert.
That's a good first concert. Free concert, too.
And then I've seen like Dave Matthews like 17 times.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Have you gone to the Gorge?
Every year in college, yeah. Yeah.
That's on my list of things I want to do.
Yep.
Finally, we have 3 would you rather questions that I have come up with. Number 1, would you rather never be able to watch football again?
Ooh.
Or only be able to watch football? That's the only thing you can watch forever in your life.
Do I get to know about football scores?
Sure. Can't take you off of the internet.
Never.
But you can't stream the games either.
I would say never watch football. Didn't expect that one.
Dun, no.
There's too many things like
I know,
what's happening around the world, or what great late breaking story is coming out of the KGW newsroom.
Real Housewives of Orange County, the important things.
Important things. Yes. Rehab Addict on HGTV, Wow. Turning around, just rehabbing the cities of Cleveland and Detroit, one Victorian home at a time. It's great TV.
Another thing I didn't expect.
Yeah.
Would you rather, so you have 2 sons, right?
2 boys.
Would you rather have them become professional football players or professional musicians?
Oof.
If you could choose. Or neither.
Neither, because a professional football player, you're going to get your brains beat in, and a professional musician, you'll be a starving artist your whole life. But I guess that's not bad if you love it, right?
They're professional, though, so they're getting paid.
Well,
at least.
Are we talking like, Billy Joel, or are we talking like?
I don't know. Let's just say what they're.
I like to analyze
somewhere in the middle,
these topics.
Like a.
I'm gonna say.
Like a Lance Bass.
Lance Bass. I'm gonna go football. Okay. Because there are a lot of things that football taught me that I couldn't learn anywhere else. There you go.
Good answer.
Okay.
Final one. And I've asked this to most of the on-air people on the podcast. Would you rather go on air and forget everything you were going to say, or go on air and burp loudly in the middle of your story?
Burp, because that would be awesome.
Yes.
That would seriously be awesome. Like, that wouldn't be embarrassing. I should do that this afternoon.
Think of the YouTube clip. Joey Harrington.
Can I do it now?
Burps on television. Sure. Can you do that on command?
Sure. But I get in trouble. Do you think Rick would get mad?
No. What's he, if you burp? Yes.
Just
that's
a small
great. And that is a wonderful note to end on. Any final words?
Yeah. No, I've just had a lot of fun. This has been great.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this with me. Now you get to go do the ENPS and the Aurora browsing and the whatever.
And the editing and the time coding. And
yes, all of the wonderful industry terms. Thank you to Joey Harrington. Next week, we'll be back with another episode of Station Break. You can always tweet me at Cassidy Quinn with the hashtag StationBreakKGW if you have ideas of who should be on the podcast, or people you want, or questions you want to ask people. I got all those questions
Lance Bass.
from Twitter and Facebook. Lance Bass.
He should be on the show.
I know he's listening. Lance Bass.
Or Billy Joel.
Well, you have that connection. Just write him back. I'm sure his address is the same.
Probably.
Dear Mr. Joel.
Dear Mr.
William Joel. On your personalized stationery. Thank you so much for listening, watching. By the way, you can find this on iTunes and SoundCloud, or the video version on kgw.com or on YouTube. So we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Goodbye.